Om Sri Aurobindo Mira is my refuge. Namaste. Good evening. Very much spiritual welcome to all of you. Today, the topic of discussion will be colonist from immortality. The topic will be colonist from immortality. It is the spiritual ascent of the Supreme. Ashwapati, we will see his adventure, spiritual adventure, his yogic adventure, and will know some of the secrets of his yoga. He is adventuring. This is the adventure of consciousness. He is adventuring ahead. He is getting his ascent. He is ascending up towards the top. And after a line, after these things, how there will be release of soul. As we know, as we have given the name, the caption of this topic, Ashwapati, all the way, it is Sri Aurobindo, a colonist from immortality, not from here or anywhere in the horizontal direction as he came here, a colonist from the immortality, a pointing beam on the earth's uncertain road. This earthly road is totally uncertain. His birth held up a symbol and a sign. His birth, he has taken material birth here is held up a symbol and a sign. So let us compare it with the descent of these avatars. Sri Aurobindo writes in another context. Sri Aurobindo writes here, all-knowing, he accepts our darkened state. He is all-knowing. We are darkened state. He accepts it and smilingly accept it. Decidingly he is smilingly accepting. Divine wears the shape of animals and man. Avatar, we have seen animal and man, this Narasingha avatar, this Rama, Krishna and all. Now at present we see the twin avatar, twin supramental avatar like Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So all these are eternal. Divine wears the shape of animal and man or man. Eternal, he ascends to fate and time. These things are not in his dictionary, but he ascends. Eternal, from the beginning it was there, today is also here. He will be continuing. It is a ceaseless birth in the ceaseless time. Throughout the ages he is taking birth. And in the form of eternal, ascends to fate and time. As we have seen and known and heard about the Mother. In the beginning, whenever and wherever there was possibility of manifesting a ray of consciousness, I was there. Immortal, he is beyond mortality. Mortality can't touch him. He is beyond mortality. But what he does here, dallies with mortality. This is the process of the nature, and he is accepting it. He is saluting it. He is also taking on him. The all-conscious ventured into ignorance. Here see not only ignorance, deep, vast of ignorance. There is in-depth, unmeasurable, unfathomable darkness. And this all, but he is all-conscious, still venturing into this ignorance. The all-blissful, bore to be insensible. Here he seems to be insensible. His finite, his spark of the absolute, of the Supreme, it is well like in the form of psychic being, well behind our soul, well behind our heart, but it is in a passive state. The divine inhabitant inside us, he is staying veiled from the surrounding system. It is being dominated by external mind, life and body. Another line Sri Aurobindo quotes here, incarnate in a world of strife and pain. This world where we see, this is the presence of only darkness only there, ignorance is there, strife, struggle, ignorance, agony, everything is packed with all odds, all negatives. But still then the divine chooses to take the incarnation, incarnate in a world of strife and pain. Let us come back to original, the adventure we are seeing, a colonist from immortality. Sri Aurobindo writes, a greater sonship was his divine right. Right, son, when we are taken birth as a son or daughter, we have got our right with respect to our father and mother. But our guardians, here in the rights, a greater sonship was his divine right. Right is divine right, and his sonship is a greater sonship. Why he has accepted this darkened stage, and inside this darkness and ignorance, what he is doing, how he is living, how he is leading the time. Although consenting to mortal ignorance, his knowledge shared the light ineffable. He has consented to this mortal ignorance. Yes, I have to come here. I have to descend. I have to take birth. I have to lead you all. I have to take care of all. He has signed salvation's testament with his own blood, because he is the Son of God, born as the Son of Man, has drunk the bitter cup, pays the Godhead's debt. To fulfill the promise, he has come down. His knowledge shared the light ineffable. Although consenting to mortal ignorance, he has consented to this mortal ignorance, but his knowledge shared the light in the ineffable light. A power was in him from the unknowable. It was not like a IS mark or hollow mark, something like this business mark we are using as a guarantee. But actually a power was in him from the unknowable. Pursuit of the unknowable. Sometime before we have read the pursuit of the unknowable, for whom no temple has been raised, no worship is given. He does not receive any worship or adoration. Well, how the universe is his altar, and the existence is his puja, worship. So here the power was in him from the unknowable, that they can't be known, knowable and unknowable. So from the unknowable he gained a power. His days were a long march to the supreme. There's not a march within 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 500 or 5,000 kilometers. His days, his every inch of his, every second of his hour, his days were a long march to the supreme, ceaseless march. It will never stop. It will never rest. It is actually, he is beyond the reach of mind and space. His soul lived as the eternal's delegate. In the mother's case also we have already sometimes somewhere we have discussed, akin to the eternity when she came. No part she took in this earthly embodiment. A stranger in the mighty world scheme, a stranger she was moving. Like here also, the Lord also facing the same thing. His soul lived as eternity's delegate. He is the delegate of the eternal. Eternity's delegate, and his soul is the eternity's delegate. He is living here in this lower hemisphere, in this downtrodden world, in this fallen world, among these helpless people, helpless inhabitants, people, men. His mind was like a fire assailing the heaven. Our mind busy with these thinkings, short confines. But actually, his mind was like a fire assailing heaven. His will, a hunter in the trials of light. Imagine how he was when she came. What was his power? What was his strength? How he was? What is the characteristic? How he was facing? With what weapon, force, strength he came to face to save this suffering world. Then Sri Aurobindo writes, this bodily appearance is not all. The form deceives. The person is a mask. Hid deep in man, celestial powers can dwell. From this appearance, outer appearance, nothing can we feel, nothing can we see. Then Sri Aurobindo says, his soul breaks out to join the oversoul. We know there is a Paramatma and there is all number of Atma. He is one and with his are many, many correspondence. One is the Supreme Soul, numberless, infinite number of souls are there. They are the spark of the Absolute. Here what happens, his soul breaks out to join the oversoul. His life is oceaned by that super life. Just imagine. It is the touch is there for us, but as we are ignorant, as we don't know, as we have no knowledge, as we are unconscious, so we have nothing to do, simply moving in this a helpless creature in the difficult world. But here the colonist from immortality, our master, the great yogi who is performing the ascent towards the supramentalization, his soul breaks out to join the oversoul. His life is oceaned by that super life. Then what happens? Then is revealed in man the over divine. Now itself the covered divine is covered, and actually he is actually concealed. Then is revealed in man the over divine, a static oneness and a dynamic power descending in him, the Godhead's integral seal. A static oneness comes. Static, why static? Static means it is permanent. As Sri Aurobindo writes somewhere in his writings in Savitri, God's oneness and the bliss are our inborn right. So this static oneness means this union with the divine, that is yoga. The union with the supreme, that is static oneness, that is our inborn, that will stay forever. Static oneness and a dynamic power descend in him. In him this power and this oneness descends, the integral Godhead seal. Then what happens? A seer was born. What about the master? Sri Aurobindo writes in his own words, a seer was born, the shining guest of time. For him, mind's limiting firmament ceased above. Their mind's formats, that limitation, it is ceased. It can't go onwards, because he is the man, he is beyond mind, taking the appearance and form of a man, but actually he is far, far, far beyond all, boundless, not confined, unconfined. Then what happens? The conscious ends of being went rolling back. The landmarks of the little person fell. The island ego joined its continent. So ego thinned and fell. It joined. So losing the punctilio of its separateness, it got united. What happens? The bounded mind become a boundless life. This is the aim of our integral transformation. In transformation, it does not mean for us. For others, it is take from caterpillar to butterfly. But here, the bounded mind become a boundless life. This is transformation. Mind becomes light. Bounded mind became the boundless life. The finite self mated with the infinity. Finite self, he, or whatever the form we are wearing now, mated with the infinity. Then what happened? Freedom and empire called to him from on high, above mind's twilight and life's star-led light, there gleamed the dawn of a spiritual day. We feel we are spiritual. Yes, all is spiritual. Knowingly or unknowingly we are spiritual. But actually, what is the condition, what is the time for this spiritual? How we will know that spiritualism has developed? Sri Aurobindo writes, freedom and empire called to him from on high, above the mind's twilight. For twilight means the end of the day or end of the night. When it at the end of the day, night comes. That buffer is known as twilight. So at the end of the night, the morning will come. The striving morning, striving sun will come out. The dawn will come out from the intense night. At the twilight, freedom and empire called to him from on high, not from here. Then what happened? Above mind's twilight, when the twilight means the end of one day or night, then when the mind's karnama work is over, these thinkings are over, and the life's star-led night, enjoyment, star-led enjoyment, whatever is best for him, when enjoyment lies, star-led night, when it ends, there gleamed the dawn of a spiritual day. Only the dawn, the early morning after night, the dawn comes. The struggling dawn tears away the breast of the strangling darkness, it comes out. Like this spiritualism, it comes out, steering behind the mortal ignorance that is strangled, that is actually thick and thin, thick every aspect. So he comes out. Humanity framed his movements less and less, a greater being saw a greater light. Humanity was framed less and less, and a greater being, movements less and less, could not confine, and a greater being saw a greater light than him. So what happens here in the each day was a spiritual romance. He feels each day was a spiritual romance, as if he was born into a bright new world. Every time new birth, every time new feeling, every time new achievement. This is the life we are getting, and this adventure will take place. It is the only part 1. Part 2 it will continue. So we have to wait. Thank you. Vande Mataram.